Take the information from there and proceed if we so please. The Speaker, there's precedent in this chamber. The Speaker, what is the difference in this matter? For you to say that we don't even need to know government official one, there's no need to go into an investigation. That even encourages us to go into the matter because you have some fears and anxieties.
We have more of that coming up too. Also, there was disagreement among members of parliament, minority members of parliament as well on this matter. We'll bring you a detailed account of what transpired in the House, plus the Speaker's ruling on the issue, which triggered massive confusion on the floor. Top Story is brought to you by Bond Savings and Loans, your success, our passion. Vodafone, the future is exciting. Ready? And Gassem, the nation builder. My name is Gifty Andoh Appiah. You're welcome to Top Story. NPP MPs in Parliament today clashed with their leadership over a request for parliamentary inquiry into the Airbus bribery scandal. Now, in spite of the majority leader's argument that the special prosecutor is already investigating the Airbus scandal, other majority members of parliament, such as Information Minister and Member of Parliament for Fuasi Ayurebi Kojo Opon-Kruma, Member of Parliament for Okainkwe Central Patrick Buama, and MP for Lejokuku Bernard Okoboy were firm in their push for an inquiry. Member of Parliament for Asin South John Ntimfojwo first triggered the debate following his request for a parliamentary probe into the scandal. Listen to what transpired.
To my mind, it must be equally of great concern to the House to invoke its accountability and oversight powers to initiate a well-coordinated inquiry into naming and shaming the few miscreants who may have been shielded as government official 1, individual 1, intermediary 5, as well as any other persons culpable within our jurisdiction relative to the infamous Airbus SE bribery scandal, which is fast threatening to erode the good name of the Republic of Ghana if fast remedial actions are not taken. Without prejudice to the outcome of the parliamentary inquiry, which I so propose, if it is determined upon the inquiry that no complicity exists on the part of the person so referred to in the judgment of the Crown Court UK and the deferred prosecution agreement by the United States District Court for the District of Columbia, the name of Ghanaian government officials in general, past or present, would have been effectively purged. On the other hand, if complicity is established on the part of any such persons, the law of the Republic of Ghana would take the course accordingly. And in either way, the confidence reposed in the Parliament of Ghana as an independent, credible institution which upholds the values of probity, accountability, transparency, and integrity would have been well and truly consolidated. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, with due regard for the diligent commitment exhibited by President Akufo-Addo in respect of the judgment by the UK and USA courts in relation to the Airbus SE bribery scandal, as demonstrated by promptly charging the office of the Special Prosecutor to collaborate with its UK counterpart to conduct inquiry into determining the complicity or otherwise of any Ghanaian government official past or present, and to take the necessary action as required by Ghanaian law, I, in the spirit of patriotism, do accordingly implore the House to explore a legitimate option fortified by Order 191 of the Standing Orders of the Parliament of Ghana to conduct inquiry into the matter as an independent institution to establish complicity or otherwise of Ghanaian government officials, past or present, relative to this Airbus bribery scandal. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
That's Member of Parliament for Asin South, John Ntimfojwo there with the statement on the floor of Parliament triggering that debate that followed. Well, in a quick rebuttal, Member of Parliament for Yape Kusou, John Jinapo, challenged Mr. Ntimfojwo's request, stating that a parliamentary probe was needless because no Ghanaian because no Ghanaian government official was named or implicated in any crime by the UK and US authorities.
I want to put it on record that is false and it is not true that in the judgment some Ghanaian officials were indicted. Mr. Speaker, who were those Ghanaian officials who were indicted?
The maker of the statement had ample time to make his statement. I would want us as a house of debate, because there will be responses also from my right. So please, let the debate flow.
Honorable Jinapo. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, all of us have read that judgment. And in that judgment, I want to state that no Ghanaian official was indicted in that judgment. And so to even proceed to request the Speaker to constitute a committee to investigate something that is based on a flawed premise, first of all, Mr. Speaker, cannot even stand the test of time. And I would appeal to you, Mr. Speaker, not to even entertain him, because the premise of his request to the Speaker to set up a committee is based on his understanding that some Ghanaian officials were indicted. That is false, Mr. Speaker. That is not true.
That's John Jinapo there. Well, the debate took on a sharp and unprecedented turn when some junior majority MPs started to disagree with the majority leader, Osei Mensah Bonsu, on the request. First, listen to the argument put forward by the majority leader, First Deputy Speaker of Parliament Joe Osei, and Member of Parliament for Tafo Pankrono, Anthony Akoto Osei, all of them objecting to the request for a probe.
The person who is solely responsible for the admissibility of statements, which is what you have done. On this particular matter, Mr. Speaker, respectfully, when it blew up, the President has referred the investigations with Office of the Special Prosecutor. Mr. Speaker, even though Parliament is not forbidden to go into any such matter, I would want to plead that the House allows the Office of the Special Prosecutor to deal with the matter and not the Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I think that this House should hasten slowly. The executive has referred the matter to the SFO. It will not look well on us if we do a parallel investigation. Mr. Speaker, we don't have the expertise. Why don't we allow the special prosecutor to do the investigation, take the information from there, and proceed if we so please? But to sit in this House and speak to the public and start talking about it is about Ghana government. It's not about official work. It's an international issue. Mr. Speaker, the issue does not talk about value for money. That's a different matter. What is being alleged is potential bribe of a Ghanaian official, whoever he or she is. Payments were made. Please, when you get your chance, honorable members, please, this is not a marketplace. This is our place.
Yes. What comes out? Often, we are not sure what is happening. Because by the time we are so politicized the issue that the public can be fed the true facts. It is in view of that I support the suggestion by the Honorable Minister for Ministerial Evaluation that the matter is within the executive. Let the executive do the investigation. And I urge you not to accept the request by the member who made a statement at this House should investigate it. If we take it up here, there will be no issue. It will be partisan. The facts will be lost and the truth will not be found. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
All right, so that is you had the three different members of parliament. You have the majority leader Osei Mensah Bonsu make a point. You also have the majority First Deputy Speaker of Parliament, or say Jose Wusu, and Member of Parliament for Tafo Pankrono, all of them objecting the request for a probe. I do have on the line Patrick Yabuama. He is Member of Parliament for Okaikwe Central, and he is significant in this conversation. Joseph Opoku Gakpo will tell us why. Joseph, you are a parliamentary affairs correspondent. Help us understand, because first of all, we know that the statement by Reverend Ntim Fodjo was was on the agenda for today. If it was, why did they generate so much confusion on the floor today?
Because one of the arguments that was being made was that there are two ways of raising conversations on the floor. One is to just deliver a statement. Let's say you are making an observation or raising an issue for the attention of everybody. An MP can present a statement to the Speaker and say, I would want to do that. And when the Speaker gives the green light, then he can go ahead and deliver that statement on the floor. Which is what Reverend Ntim did today. Which was actually what Reverend Ntim did today. But when you look at the standing orders of Parliament, the standing order 191, and I would quote from it directly. It says the House may at any time by motion appoint a special or ad hoc committee to investigate any matter of public importance, to consider any bill that does not come under the jurisdiction of any of the standing orders or select committee. So here the standing orders make the point that in order to get any issue dealt with by a committee of the House and the issue doesn't come under any of the existing committees, whether agriculture, whether health, whether communication, you come by a motion and then the House can then go ahead and set up a committee to allow for that. So that was the argument. If there's an issue that requires further investigation and doesn't fall under any of the parliamentary committees, then you can bring in a motion. You can move a motion, and if the House adopts the motion, then that committee can be set up. Okay. So that's what some of the MPs were arguing about, that Mr. Ntim Fodjo did not come with a motion. He came in the form of a statement, more like an observatory statement. But then some of the MPs made the argument that there's been instances when people have made statements and it's been referred to committees of Parliament to investigate. Kojo Ponkruma made a reference to one that was by the MP for Aduajiri in Sawem, that's Anodompre, concerning sand winning, and the Speaker actually asked the committee to investigate. Now, Patrick Yabuama, as he said, is interesting in this because before this whole conversation began on the floor, he had stated that going into next week, he was going to move a motion, which is what some MPs consider as the appropriate method to get an investigative committee. He said he was going to move a motion next week requesting that the House actually sets up a committee to investigate this, with the majority leader even then disagreed with him on that. So right now, it looks as if there is still room for him to bring up the motion, although there has been a ruling on the statement. And I'll talk to him briefly. But Joseph, I want you to just give us a wrap. For people who, this is quite confusing, quite frankly, for people who have not followed the debate and don't really understand what this debate is. Give us a wrap of the various arguments being made, just briefly. So simply, Reverend Ntim Fodjo, the NPP MP for Ascent South, made a statement on the floor asking that the House sets up a committee to investigate the Airbus scandal. Immediately he raised that point. The majority leader, Oseichi Mensah-Buntu, said that he thought that wouldn't be necessary because the Office of the Special Prosecutor is already investigating the issue. The minority MPs jumped on that, including John Jinapor, who we heard from a while ago, as well as Ibrahim Ahmed, making the point that they also think that a parliamentary probe will not be necessary. And then the other interesting bit came in when some of the majority MPs disagreed with their leader, including the likes of Kojo Ponkruma and Bernard Okoboy, who is the MP for Lojokuku, who were insisting that they thought a parliamentary probe was actually necessary. And then the leaders of the House, including Jose Usu and the Minister for Monitoring and Evaluation, that Akuto Osei, also insisted that they backed the majority leader that a probe wouldn't be necessary. After the back and forth, the Speaker gave a ruling and said that for now, they wouldn't go ahead and institute any such probe, but they will be paying attention to the issue until the Office of the Special Prosecutor is done with this investigation. Okay. And if they think at any point in time it's necessary to go ahead with a parliamentary probe, then they will do that. But for now, they are waiting for the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Very well. Let me bring in Patrick Yabuama, Member of Parliament for Okaikwe Central. Mr. Buama, thank you so much for your time this evening and for your patience. Now, you earlier wanted to file a motion on the floor of Parliament so that this matter is dealt with. But there was a statement
And on that statement, the Speaker of Parliament has given a ruling, which is that Parliament will hold on. Will you still go ahead with your motion because there is still a window for which makes a motion possible in this case?
Thank you. Good evening to you and your guys, listeners. My statement came as a result of the business statement that the leader of the House, Honorable Minister, was delivered through a motion. And in the discussion, I caught the Speaker's eye and placed on notice that having considered Article 1815, having considered Order 191, having considered the preamble to the Constitution, considered the Hansard, which captured the resolution that approved this facility for the acquisition of those aircraft, which has become the subject matter for domestic discussion. I intend to file a motion in the ensuing week. The majority leader and the leader of government business disagreed with me and said it was executive had referred the matter to the Office of the Special Prosecutor.
I mean, that is context that we've already given our listeners. What I wanted you to address for me is whether or not, given that the Speaker of Parliament does not say no member of Parliament can bring this up again, there is still a window. Will you still go ahead and file the motion? Because the ruling now, and we'll listen to the Speaker of Parliament, is that Parliament is holding on. So essentially, at this point, there is not going to be any inquiry, parliamentary inquiry. Will you still move your motion because there is an open window for it? That's the question I wanted you to address for me.
I'm not going to attempt to sidestep the Speaker's ruling. He is always in the chair. We respect his ruling. He's a very distinguished personality in our country.
Right. So you can
he's ruled, and I'm going to respect that ruling.
Do you agree with him?
I'm going to respect his ruling.
So you respect his ruling, but you don't really agree with him?
I didn't say that. I respect the Speaker's ruling.
Your other colleagues have raised concerns about why there has to be a parliamentary probe, because the special prosecutor has been put in charge of this, and so the special prosecutor is on it. Why was there the need to get into this probe?
I cited 4 documents which gave me or some of our colleagues the reason to ask for a probe. I refer to provisions in the Constitution. I refer to provisions in orders. I refer to the House that approved the law. I refer to the solemn declaration that members of Parliament swore to. So, my colleagues, Honorable Paul Nkrumah, Honorable Okuboy, also asked that the Speaker, per our rules, has the power to make a ruling. You can only challenge the Speaker's ruling by a substantive motion, which I don't. So,
which you don't intend to do. I lost you there briefly. Did you say which you don't intend to do?
I said you can only challenge the Speaker's ruling by a substantive motion, which I don't intend doing.
Okay. Just my final question before you go is: did you know that the Member of Parliament for Asin South was going to come on the floor with a statement which was similar to what you wanted to do?
Say that again, please.
Did you know about the statement that was delivered on the floor of Parliament by Reverend Ntim Fodro?
No, please, I didn't. The Speaker had made statements, and it's right to do so per our rules.
So I guess that this was a mere coincidence?
I don't know about that.
Well, what do you say to those who say that there's actually this was all orchestrated? Essentially, what happened in Parliament today, the clash, the disagreement, essentially among majority members of Parliament, was all orchestrated.
Give members of Parliament some respect. I know you respect us, but I'm just saying that we don't go into conclave to discuss mischievous things and orchestrate things. We all look at proceedings, issues affecting the state. We have the right under Order 72 to make urgent statements before the commencement of public business. There are a lot of procedures that any member can avail himself or herself to. So I didn't even know a statement had been admitted. I'm telling you that at the time I raised the issue, it was in the presentation of the business statement. I didn't know. And the order of business for today had already been altered because the road minister was on the floor to answer questions before the statement. Usually, statements are made before question time. So it should tell you that nobody had any idea of whether a statement had been admitted. And it's advertised on the console that a statement of this nature has been advertised for you to have prior notice the statement.
Right.
To make that inference.
Thank you very much, sir, for your time this evening here on Top Story. Patrick Yabuama, the Member of Parliament for Kainkwe Central, who initially said he was going to move a motion, but a statement came ahead of that. Well, there was a ruling on that, like we indicated. You can hear the Speaker of Parliament on that ruling now.
This House has competently, generally, dealt with this matter. I want to reiterate I'm of the view the inquisition powers of this Honorable House on any matter of public interest, from archaeology to zoology, cannot be encapsulated. I am fully persuaded that, considering the circumstances of this matter in its totality and the technical prerequisites for examining it in full, and mindful of the referral already to the Special Prosecutor's Office, and not forgetting that at any stage, at any time, this House can, by any of its appropriate procedures, go further into the matter. We will hold our horses by what I will rule now, and we shall revisit it in due season.
The Speaker of Parliament, Professor Michael Quay there. Well, let's wrap up this conversation by hearing from the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs Executive Director, Dr. Rashid Rahman, joins us on the line for a very brief remark. Doc, thank you for your time. What's your assessment of the way the debate went in Parliament today?
Well, I think I must commend the leadership of Parliament and the Speaker of Parliament for ruling the way he ruled, and then the majority leader for the position that he took. Look, I think this matter, if there is any issue in this Parliament that is politically charged, I think it is this issue. Coming at a time when we are about to go to elections, involving the leader of the major opposition party and so on, Parliament getting involved in this is going to be seen a lot more as politics than really doing an inquisition. So the special prosecutor has been tasked to probe into the matter. I think Parliament should leave the special prosecutor to do his job. And as the Speaker said, I mean, the technicalities involved and so on, I don't think that Parliament at the moment has all the technical capacity to go into a matter as technical as this scandal is. So I think
we've actually run out of time, but that's a point I want to take you up on quickly, because Parliament says that they have the mandate, they have the power to probe anything at all in this country. This is the Parliament.
Yes, they have indeed. I mean, that one nobody can take it away from. The Constitution gives them that power. They have those powers, understanding orders, and so on. But whether the technical capacity exists within the House is another matter altogether. We are talking about engineering. We are talking about airspace issues and so on and so forth. I mean, if I would just take you back into history a little bit, Parliament has been trying to set up various specialized units like the scrutiny unit and so on and so forth to help members of Parliament on matters like this. And those units are supposed to be units that are equipped, with specialists in various fields of endeavor, so that when issues like this come up, then Parliament is properly informed. So that if they are doing an investigation, let them do a proper investigation, not one that would be done, with very limited technical capacity.
Okay, all right. Well, Doc, thank you very much. So the point that he makes there is that the necessity for Parliament to have some of these specialized committees that can look at some of these issues. Bond savings and loans, your success, our passion. Vodafone, the future is exciting. Ready, Gaston, the nation builder. They brought you Top Story. My name is Gifty Andoh Appiah. Evans Mensah is connecting on Ghana Connect this day. And if you want to hear more of the arguments and the passion that came with it, you want to see how it all went down at 6 p.m. Tonight, you can get Joy News on your digital TV without a digibox. Thank you very much for your time.